We're back here at PFF with another Football 101 video breaking down everyone's favorite topic, the NFL salary cap. We get conspiracy theories every year. Is the cap even real? How do the New Orleans Saints keep getting away with this? Why are these contracts so easy to get out of, to manipulate? But at the end of the day, the cap is very real. It's not that complicated to get an elementary level understanding of the NFL salary cap and the system at play here. You're going to feel like a cap guru after this video. First and foremost, the NFL announced the 2024 salary cap is $255.4 million, a $30 million increase over the prior season, about 13%, which historically is one of the biggest jumps in the history of the salary cap. So, does that mean teams can spend like crazy? They can retain all their good players? Not necessarily. We saw players like Mitch Morse and Tre'Davious White in Buffalo, Justin Simmons in Denver at safety. A bunch of good football players have already been released. And you might be wondering why. I thought it's so easy to get away with this. The simplest way to put it is the NFL salary cap can be kind of treated like a credit card, and teams can spend more than a given year salary cap, but you can't get away with it forever. So let's start there. We said the NFL had a $255.4 million cap in 2024, but that does not mean teams can only spend $255.4 million in cash. In fact, you can spend way more than the salary cap in a certain given year from a cash standpoint. So how are they getting away with that? Different components of an NFL contract hit the salary cap in different ways. Very simple, and it all hits the salary cap in that year. What teams often also do is use prorated bonuses, signing bonuses, and other mechanisms to push money over 5 years. So the cash is all paid in a given year, but you have a $20 million signing bonus, let's say, on a 5-year contract. On the salary cap, it would be $4 million in each year. So that's how you can spend more than the salary cap in a given year is if you push money down the line using these prorated bonuses and push those cap hits out, you can get really aggressive in some years. Another big element to it that folks may not know, you can actually carry over unused cap space in a given year into the following year. Let's say you're at the end of the 2023 season, you had $20 million in cap space you had not used yet. Your salary cap, it would actually be $275.4 because you can carry over that unused space and still spend underneath that number from a cap standpoint in a given year. We mentioned those prorated bonuses and the hypothetical $20 million is pushed out over 5 years with only $4 million from a cap standpoint hitting the current year. What happens if the player has one season, it does not go well, and the team wants to move on? Does that extra $16 million, the 20 minus the 4, disappear? Unfortunately not. It's all still going to hit your salary cap at some point. The most recent example, the most infamous example probably for some time now, is Russell Wilson in Denver. The Denver Broncos are going to be paying Russell Wilson on their salary cap, not cash, a total of $85 million in 2024 and 2025 to not play for the team. The record before Russell Wilson was Matt Ryan at $40.3 million when he was traded from the Atlanta Falcons to the Indianapolis Colts. So I always hear about these restructures. These teams are just changing these contracts and moving things around. The numbers don't matter. What does that mean? A restructure at a very high level is a very simple mechanism. I mentioned a salary hits your salary cap all in 1 year, but you can convert that salary into a bonus. You just restructure the deal. You see it reported a bunch. X team restructured the contract of X player and cleared this amount of cap. It's the same thing. You're just converting a single year cap hit into something spread out over the life of the deal up to 5 years. What about a void year? I keep hearing about void years. Okay, void years are essentially dummy contract years. They are not real. The player is not under contract and signed for that year. And again, the same principle. They can spread cap hits out over multiple years, and in this scenario, without even having the player under contract for those later years. What does effective cap space mean? Okay, very simple here again as well. When we enter into an offseason, we know that every roster does not have 53 players on it. You also know you have a draft class coming. And of course, a lot of draft picks are cheap, but the first overall pick now is making over $40 million a year on a 4-year contract. So effective cap space combines these two things. We say, okay, if you have a roster of 35 players, we need to fill out this roster. First, we account for your draft class, and then secondly, we'll add a minimum salary, but we'll fill your salary cap space all the way to the top with those 53 players, and that's the new number. It's a more meaningful number because, again, if you are flush in space, but you have 25 players under contract, less than half of a full roster, you can't go crazy and go gangbusters and spend a top of market for a bunch of players, because you need all 53. We'll close out with one more here with incentives, which is of course a part of a lot of NFL contracts. And there's a very fascinating way these are treated on the NFL salary cap. There's what is called not likely to be earned, NLTBE, and likely to be earned incentives, LTBE. And at a very high level, it's as simple as this. A likely to be earned incentive will count on the salary cap in that year. Let's say a player who had 10 sacks the year prior signs a new contract, and in the contract it says, if the player has 5 sacks in the season, he'll earn an extra $1 million. Going into that next year, on the salary cap, there will be a $1 million cap hit during the course of that season. That is a likely to be earned incentive. So we expect it to get paid, so it'll be on the cap during that year. A not likely to be earned incentive is the opposite, right? A guy had 5 sacks in a year prior. He has an incentive in his contract to hit 10 sacks, and if he doesn't, he will not get that money. So it's not likely to be earned because he fell well short of that the year prior. Now you're saying, okay, but at the end of the year they got to level up, right? Yes. There's the annual adjustment at the end of every NFL season, between the end of the season and before the following league year, which happens in mid-March, where they go through and they account them all up, right? This guy hit it, this guy didn't, so the team will get a salary cap credit or of course a debit. Say, okay, we expect this guy to hit it, he didn't, your team is plus $5 million. We didn't expect this guy to hit this incentive, but he did, surprise, you're minus $3 million.